In the natural world, particularly among amphibians, we occasionally witness strange, reproductive behaviors employed by certain species to protect their eggs from predators. One notable example is the pipitoad, found in South America. During mating, the female pipitoad flips herself upside down and deposits her eggs onto her own back. Subsequently, a specialized skin tissue grows over the eggs, providing them with protection. Then, after about 2 weeks, the tadpoles emerge from their mother's back, creating a rather remarkable scene. Another astounding example in the world of frogs is the intriguing Darwin's frog. In this case, the male frogs actually ingest the fertilized eggs, but instead of consuming them, they gently transfer the eggs into their vocal sacs, providing a nurturing sanctuary until the eggs hatch. And indeed, there are frogs that take it a step further than the Darwin's frog by actually consuming their own eggs. Rather than storing the eggs in their vocal sacs, they swallow the eggs and nurture the developing offspring inside their digestive systems. Today, let's talk about the amazing frog, which uses its stomach as a surrogate uterus. In 1974, herpetologist Mike Tyler made a fascinating discovery in the forest in eastern Queensland, Australia. He witnessed an incredible sight: female frogs giving birth to their offspring through their mouths. With a gentle press on the abdomen of the female frog, within a matter of seconds, 6 baby frogs would hop out of its mouth, one after another. Realizing that he had encountered something extraordinary, Tyler captured the specimens and conducted X-ray imaging. The results were nothing short of astonishing. The frog's stomach was filled with approximately 20 tadpoles, which accounted for about 40% of the mother's total body weight. Additionally, as the mother frog's belly became bloated and expanded, it exerted pressure on her lungs, hindering her ability to breathe through them. As a result, the frog relied solely on her skin to extract oxygen and sustain her respiration. During the 6 weeks it took for the eggs to hatch and the tadpoles to grow, the mother frog did not eat anything and did not produce any stomach acid. Tyler attempted to publish his research on this fascinating behavior of the frog in Nature, but it was rejected due to a perceived lack of interest. Instead, he decided to publish his findings in a different scientific journal, Animal Behavior, in 1981. Upon publication, Tyler's research piqued the interest of none other than the medical community. This is because studying this particular frog, which suppresses stomach acid to nurture its offspring, could potentially contribute to the development of drugs for treating gastric conditions in humans, like ulcers. Tyler's additional research revealed that the eggs and tadpoles secrete a substance called prostaglandin E2, which inhibits the mother frog's stomach acid, allowing her to divert resources to nourishing the developing offspring. However, before research had even begun in 1981, this frog disappeared from the wild without a trace. And 2 years later, even the frogs that had been collected and kept in captivity died, leading to their complete extinction. Fortunately, in the following year of 1984, a similar species was discovered in Yungaburra National Park, located in the northern region of Queensland, Australia. This frog's habitat was further north than the previous species, and so it was named the northern gastric-brooding frog. However, the joy in this discovery was short-lived. Just 1 year later, even this frog started to follow the same path to extinction, rendering any additional research for medical purposes futile. While deforestation and the lethal amphibian disease called chytridiomycosis have been cited as potential causes for the extinction, the exact reasons remain unclear. As a result, these peculiar frogs seem to vanish not only from the earth, but also from the memories of scientists. Then, in the year 2013, a new group of scientists formed, determined to bring these frogs back to life. Leading the charge was Professor Mike Archer, a renowned paleontologist from Australia. Archer, who was planning the Lazarus project, a project for the restoration of extinct animals, decided to ask his friend Tyler for his opinion. "Tyler, is it possible that those frogs still exist?" Wait a moment. Fortunately, there were preserved frog specimens from several decades ago, still in the freezer. Dr. Archer attempted to replicate the frog by extracting the nucleus from the cells of this frog and transplanting it into the eggs of a related frog species. The original nuclei of the recipient eggs were removed, and then ultraviolet radiation was applied to induce cell division, using a technique known as nuclear transfer. So, what was the result? Remarkably, the nucleus transplanted cells successfully divided into several hundred cells and entered the early embryonic stage of development. However, unfortunately, the embryonic cells could only survive for 3 days. As a result, the research did not progress any further. I was personally interested to see if the research had progressed any further since that time, but I could find hardly any news or updates after 2013. Was the research perhaps interrupted due to issues such as financial constraints? I emailed Professor Archer, the head of the research, inquiring about the current status of the study, and surprisingly, I received a response. Professor Archer clarified in our email exchange that the Lazarus project had not been discontinued, and efforts are being made to improve the technology. Professor Archer also mentioned that he is currently in the process of preparing a research paper summarizing the results achieved thus far. He indicated that it may take some time to complete. It is evident that there are numerous areas of debate surrounding the restoration of extinct animals, including economic value, providing habitats for restored animals, and potential disruptions to ecosystems. Still, in the corner of my mind there remains a personal desire to witness, even once, the restoration of a species like the gastric-brooding frog, and to have the opportunity to see them giving birth to their offspring. What are your thoughts on the restoration of this frog? Please share your opinions in the comment section below. Science is a window to the world, and this has been Science Dream. Thank you for watching.